Welcome back to Grow Joyfully. It is only just after 9 o'clock in the morning and it is so hot, miserably hot. But today I really wanted to focus on animal care and getting these little girls all fed and watered properly. We have 3 sets of chickens now, and we have Hopper, the bunny rabbit, and we have George the rooster. So each one of them, I've had to take out their water containers and scrub them really well with soap and water. Get them clean, and then put about a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in their water, depending on the size of the container, because that helps their gut health. So during this hot weather, it's very critical to keep them very well watered and make sure that they have a cool place to be, to get out of the direct sun, to have some shade. So that's what I'm starting with this morning, making sure everybody's really fed and watered. That's the number one thing animals need, is clean, fresh water, especially when it's hot. They cannot do without water, so don't forget to check your animals frequently during a heat spell, preferably at least twice a day. We keep this large water bowl for the chickens just out here on the grass, and actually any animal that wanders by, like the cats or some sort of visiting animal, they will always have access to clean, fresh water. So all the animals, except for the baby chicks closer to the house, have fresh, clean water and food. And we're going to check on them later on in the day. We have shade here for George the rooster. We have a double tarp right there and a shade cloth so that he can get back into the shade whenever he needs to. Plus we have this board across the top of his food area, so it protects it from weather and from sun. Our water source is from a canal that comes from the local dam, probably about 45 minutes up in the mountains. And we try to keep one of the sprinklers going during the intense heat at all times. That way it'll keep the grass growing, the trees and bushes alive, makes it cooler for the animals, helps keep the garden going. Thank heavens that we have water to help make this desert bloom. We do live in a semi-arid desert, and I think it would be, well, I know it would be impossible to live here, especially with this population, without a lot of water. So I'm very, very grateful for water. Anytime summer comes around, or anytime I just think about it, I am so grateful for water and all the little privileges and comforts that we have. This nice shaded expanse of pasture is very comforting, very nice and cool, and a great place for our animals to be able to run. Like I told you in an earlier video, this was just an alfalfa field before we built our house here. And the only trees that were here were these native elms. They're kind of dirty and messy, but they provide wonderful shade. But any other tree here we have planted over the last 24 years to make a sound break and a wind break and just provide some lovely shade, protection, and privacy, especially since we're right on a busy road. And there's Miss Friendly enjoying the cool, lovely grass. Hi, sweetie pie. Since my husband discovered that some black raspberries had planted themselves out here, he cut back all the brush that he could. So I'm going to go in here and see if there are any berries. I have to fight the chickens for them, though. Here's a few growing. You can see some Oregon grape there. And we have some Virginia creeper type stuff here. We don't have poison ivy or poison oak out here in Idaho, for which I am very grateful. Well, there weren't very many, but I will always take berries no matter what. My husband looked up Oregon grape because it grew up there in Canada where he was raised. My husband researched Oregon grape, and according to Google, it says that you can eat Oregon grape, but they have to be cooked and they're quite bitter. So I guess people make jelly out of them. Am I going to do that? I don't think I'm brave enough. If you've had any experience with Oregon grape and making jelly or whatever out of the berries, please let me know down in the comments section. It is so nice here in the shade. The little chickens are just wandering around, eating some nice grass, eating some nice bugs. I think that's one of the things that makes their eggs so beautiful dark yellow. My husband's greenhouse is pretty much finished. They have to get in the door and a few other things, but for the most part, it's finished. So I cut back my comfrey, and I've been more diligent in watering it, and it is coming back very well. I'll be able to harvest the leaves very soon here. Comfrey is a wonderful medicinal herb. You're never supposed to use it on a deep cut because it will heal the top before it heals the bottom. So don't put it on a deep cut, but it's great for bruises, sprains, and surface abrasions. It's time for me to get in the garden and start tying up tomatoes before the sun hits them. I know it's hard for things to grow in the shade, but it's so hot that things generally do just fine. Hi, Mrs. Fluffyhead. Are you enjoying your morning stroll? Yes, George has to get in on it all the time. Well, the corn's coming up, and I believe Gypsy says there's a saying, knee high by the 4th of July. 4th of July is in 2 days. Silly chickens. The 4th of July is in a couple days, and it's definitely past my knees. So maybe this is a good thing. We're really hoping to get sweet corn this year. Last year was a bust, and it's one of our favorite things. It's time to mow this beautiful garden. I used the rototiller the other day in between my onions and by the zucchinis and by those tomatoes there, and they look a lot better. I do want to get weed fabric there just because it's so hard to fight it. I love coming out here to inspect the tomatoes, see if they're tied up, if they're setting fruit, how they're doing, fertilize them. But it's time for me to start back there and start getting them tied up. It's time to check all these things. There's a few watermelon coming up. As you can see, there's water deep down, but the surface is dry. So I might run the sprinkler for just a little while to keep the top wet, because I just planted some of these seeds, especially the cucumbers. Part of them have been watered over here. It's also time to pick some raspberries. That'll be nice. I planted corn here about 3 days ago, and it's going to be a while before they germinate and grow, so we can tell if we're going to have any success this year. I'm going to work on getting this last bit covered up with the weed fabric and that over there, because it's just crazy, as you can see. And then if you have weed fabric, take a look at that. Much better. This tomato plant here is the Big Hill, and it's a determinate. I actually meant to plant it in the main garden, but it got planted here, and that's okay, because it'll be interesting to see how a determinate does out here with the indeterminates. So, as you can see, there are a bunch of suckers, and I'm leaving them because a determinate tomato has a bush-like growth habit, and I don't think it will benefit it too much to take all the suckers off. If you do take the suckers off, obviously it would put more energy into the fruit and blossoms. I have removed the leaves up to here just to divert some of the energy into the fruit. So we'll see how it does. It's looking pretty good. It's setting some fruit. This is my first year for a Big Hill, so we will see what it produces for us. So I'm getting this weed fabric down, and it makes all the difference in the world, even if I have to kind of patch it and cobble it together. I'm going to have to go down there and work on that one. This plant here is the holy myrrh bearer. and it seems to be growing quite well, and it has set some fruit right there. This is my first year growing it, so I'm pretty excited about it. It just helps so much to have this black weed screen down. It's hard to emphasize it enough. I know it's hard to afford, but this is my fault that I didn't get it done. Once I took my fall, I think I avoided it just because it's hot and it's difficult. Now the sun's coming on this portion, so I had better hurry up. Well, I finished this. It's not a very neat and tidy job, but I'm too hot and I don't care. It's down on both sides of this last row and that last little bit there. Very hot. I'm going to go back and work in the shade. Every time I want to get out here to tie the tomatoes up, I lose the shade, so I'll see how much I can do without making myself sick. That feels really good to have that weed fabric down. It's going to do so much for this area and look so much better. Sorry about the camera shaking, but my hand is shaking. So I'm going to go into the shade now. With as much work as it has taken to put this weed fabric down, I can't even stand the thought of pulling it up again, either in the fall or in the spring. I've left it out there in the railroad tie garden for 2 years now. And all I did was dig down in the hole that was cut, amend the soil, put in some dairy compost, fertilizer, and the pumpkins that are out there are growing just fine. Maybe we can just leave this down and rotate crops because it's a lot of effort. My brother takes it up every year, but his is much thicker and kind of more in 2 or 3 big pieces. But man, this is going to stay here for a while. It's just too tough. It's time to get this yellow ox heart tied up and see what I can do with these tomatoes. Well, the heat's getting to me. I'm going to go in. I've been watering the raspberries, watermelons, cucumbers, and cantaloupe over there, and the potatoes. I'll go turn off that water, and I'm going to head in the house. I'm going to go pick up the eggs, see if the chickens have laid any, go have some lunch, try to cool down, and work in the house. So I hope you guys have a lovely day. Please be careful of the heat and enjoy what you're doing, but I think we're going to have to turn our focus at least half the day to indoors. Let's go in the house. It's a great time to go through your pantry, to declutter things, just get a lot of stuff done. So I hope you have a great day and a productive day, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for stopping by.